and welcome to my channel where I make dishes inspired by some of my favorite video game characters. Today's dish is inspired by Tifalockhart from the Final Fantasy VII series. One word I'd use to describe Tifa is heartwarming. She feels like home. She's so kind and protective, and even though she is a skilled fighter, she's so gentle and comforting. It's no wonder why she is so loved by the fandom, and of course the main party of FF7. I, like many others, love Tifa's multiple layers as a character, and respect how she is such a wonderful human being even with her past. She's got dedication and drive, as seen by her work ethic in running 7th Heaven, alongside being a member of Avalanche. On top of it all, she's incredibly strong from all of the training she does with Zangan. I mean, does the girl even get a minute to breathe? Of course, all of these traits just make her more lovable and respectable. I love seeing her relationships with each member of the main party, especially Barrett and Aerith, and I've grown to love Tifa so much more with the new remakes, fleshing her character out more and more, and her gameplay style is so unique and helpful, especially in some of the more tricky battles. It will never get old seeing beautiful Tifa kick major butt while sharing some of the most grounded opinions and stabilizing the varied group, so I can't wait to see her more in Remake Part 3 and any other games in the future. It was fun coming up with the dish for Tifa because there are so many possibilities. She's as sweet as pie, so she'd love desserts, but she's also tough as can be, so she'd love flavorful savory dishes. She also already has an edible connection since she serves delicious drinks at 7th Heaven. Therefore, I knew I wanted to make a dish that used alcohol in some way. As I said earlier, Tifa is so warming and comforting, so I started leaning towards a dish that was equally warming and comforting. I love her color palette with white contrasted against deep and dark browns, reds, and blacks, and to be honest, there was one Tifa quote that I knew had to be related to the dish in some way. I'll smash 'em. All of these things together led me towards some wine-braised beef with red smashed potatoes. Here's what you'll need to make your own. 4 pounds of chuck roast, canola oil, 1 yellow onion, 2 leeks, garlic, red wine, beef stock, 3 carrots, 5 sprigs of fresh thyme, bay leaves or bay leaf seasoning, salt, pepper, and optional chives for garnish. For the smashed potatoes specifically, you'll need 4 to 6 red potatoes, chicken bouillon powder, salted butter, pepper, whole milk, and sour cream. We're going to begin the process by preparing our ingredients at the cutting board. First, peel and mince a yellow onion and add it to a medium bowl. Next, we'll wash and chop 2 leeks. You'll specifically only use the white and light green parts of the leeks. Then you'll mince them and add them into the bowl with the yellow onions. The last thing to go into the bowl will be garlic, so peel and thinly slice at least 6 cloves of garlic. Into a separate small bowl, we'll add 3 peeled and chopped carrots, and then we'll set that bowl aside. We'll then grab our large portion of chuck roast. We'll pat the chuck roast dry with paper towels, especially if it's quite wet, and then we'll cut the roast into about 4-inch chunks. We'll generously season all sides of the roast with salt and pepper, and then we'll head over to the stovetop. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and then start heating a Dutch oven on medium-high heat. Add in about 2 tablespoons of canola oil, and once the surface is warm, add in your chunks of chuck roast. We'll cook and brown all sides of the meat until they are golden brown. This should take about 3 to 4 minutes for each side. Once all sides of the meat are browned, transfer the meat to a clean plate. The meat should not be fully cooked through, as we're just trying to get some color and flavor onto the meat. Once all of the meat is cooked and out of the Dutch oven, we'll make sure to lower the heat to medium-low and then add in our bowl of onion, leeks, and garlic. We'll continue cooking and stirring occasionally until softened and tender, which should take about 5 to 10 minutes. It's now time to add in some good stuff. We'll carefully pour in 2 cups of red wine and 2 cups of beef stock, as well as season to taste with salt and pepper. We'll let the Dutch oven continue cooking until it starts to simmer and bubble, which will take around 15 minutes. Once you see the mixture start to bubble, return the cooked meat to the pot and then add in your chopped carrots, 5 sprigs of thyme, and 2 bay leaves, or 1 teaspoon of bay leaf seasoning. Stir so that everything is well incorporated, and then cover the Dutch oven up and slide it into the oven to cook. The roast will cook, covered, for 2.5 hours undisturbed, so feel free to use this time as you'd like, such as training with pull-ups or sit-ups. Once 2.5 hours have passed, take the lid off of your Dutch oven and continue cooking the roast, uncovered now, for about 30 to 45 minutes until the meat has become fork tender. Once the roast has become fork tender, remove the roast from the oven and then skim off any fat that is resting on the top of the liquid and discard. Put the lid back onto the Dutch oven and allow the roast to rest and cool while you switch gears over to your smashed potatoes. Wash and medium chop your red potatoes, and as you cut, add the smaller pieces into a medium pot. Once all potatoes are chopped, fill your pot up with cold water, just enough to cover the potatoes, and rise up about a ½ inch higher. Add 2 tablespoons of chicken bouillon powder and then cover the pot up and heat the pot on high. The pot will slowly come to a boil, and as it boils, it will cook the potatoes. We will cook the potatoes until they are soft and also fork tender, which will take around 20 to 30 minutes in total. Once the potatoes are fork tender, we'll remove the pot from the heat and drain the potatoes. With our potatoes drained, we'll add in 4 tablespoons of salted butter, about 1 tablespoon of black pepper, a ½ cup of whole milk, and 3/4 cup of sour cream. We'll mash and squish the potatoes until they are softer and smoother to our desired consistency. Taste and feel free to season with more salt or pepper to your own preferences. Additionally, if you like your mash to be creamier and thinner, feel free to add in more milk. To serve up everything, we'll add some smashed potatoes to a bowl and then top with our braised beef as well as some of the juices. Optionally top with some chives and then enjoy. This dish is a real winner. It's so rich and flavorful, yet familiar and comforting. The smashed potatoes are so soft and pillowy, and they harmonize so well with the beef. The strong and delicious flavor you get when you bite into the juicy beef is out of this world. The beef comes together with the perfect mix of veggies and spices to complement it, and you'll have a hard time stopping yourself from seconds. It's filling, but in a warming way, not an excruciating way, and it really proves that good things come to those who wait. This dish just feels right up Tifa's alley for me. It mixes so many things together that she would appreciate. High protein to help with muscle gain, carbohydrates for energy, vegetables for vitamins and minerals, a homey and comforting warmth and mouthfeel, and bold yet familiar flavors. I could see this recipe being passed down by Tifa's father, and with love in her heart, she started making it often from the Seventh Heavens kitchen for her friends and members of Avalanche. When she feels up to it, she might even serve it as a special at the bar from time to time, and she would love pouring a nice glass of Merlot or Cabernet for guests to pair perfectly with their plate. Once she got out of Midgar, she'd love to introduce this recipe to all of her new friends in the party. Everyone would get a huge kick out of it, especially Red 13, who Tifa would have to keep her eye on so he wouldn't lick the pot clean. Everyone would be laughing as they dug in, and she'd look over at Cloud, who was just smiling warmly after swallowing a spoonful. She knows him well enough and knows that he loves the comfort of this dish without him even saying a word. Words aren't the only way to tell someone how you feel. Food can work just as well. The recipe card is in the video description if you'd like a more quick and concise version to give it a try. Like if you want a bite, subscribe for more geeky treats, and comment what foods Tifa reminds you of. Thanks for following along.